Do you ever visit your own Wikipedia page?
I have been to it a couple of times, yes.
I like to do a thing with my interview subjects called Wikipedia True or False, because not exactly accurate are these things. I've done this with probably 10 guests. Thus far, there is not one that hasn't had a factual error. We'll start on yours, and there's already going to be something here. This Wikipedia doesn't know where you were born. It says either Milwaukee, Oregon, or West Lynn, Oregon. Where were you born, Chael?
I was born in Milwaukee. Now, I lived my entire life in West Lynn, but the trick on that is, where is the actual hospital located? Well, there's no hospital in West Lynn. Milwaukee's a town over, so I was born in Milwaukee, but I lived in West Lynn.
So, I mean, that's understandable because they have both listed. It says sources differ. The source could have been you, Chael.
It could have been. I don't know how to edit and change those pages, but I think that one's close enough. That one's close enough because they're only separated by a couple of months.
Oh, we don't want them edited. We want people to get on Google and look and say, where the hell is he from? And then they go to Fightful.com and they find out where you're from. That's what we want. We want those inaccuracies. It says, in 1996, Sonnen began training in boxing with the hopes of competing in the UFC upon graduating from high school. Is that true?
That is true. And boxing specific, UFC was my big goal, but my dad had an interest in the Olympic Games, and so I was considering trying out for boxing in the 2000 Olympics, but pursued wrestling instead.
It says Chael Sonnen is a Catholic.
Oh, yeah, that's a fact.
Here's one that happens, and it's a lot more. It happens a lot more with pro wrestlers, but height, 6'1". We have a lot of pro wrestlers that will straight up say, "No, I'm 3 inches shorter than that."
Yeah, I claim 6'1", but am definitely closer to 6.
Hey, that's close enough for me. After Paulo Filho lost, he said he would ship Chael Sonnen the title, the WEC title. Did he ever ship you that title?
Yes, and he gets credit for it. It was a nice gesture. I've got the belt to this day, but it was his manager, Ed Soros, that actually took it from him and went to the post office and said, "This is no longer yours, it's his." So, but yes, I do have the belt.
So did he try to resist doing that?
I don't know if he did or not. Paulo had gone through some problems, and I've got no personal problem with him and wish him nothing but a great life. He was even shot at a party a number of years ago. It went into his leg, and he came out okay, but he had some struggles, and he was cut from the WEC that night, which that night it rolled into the UFC. So he would have been in the UFC, so he really lost all those contracts and opportunities, and it might have been the beginning of a bit of a spiral, but I don't know whether he was behind it or not, but I know Ed did go to the post office, and I got the belt.
I remember prior to losing to you, there were a lot of people. I remember he was undefeated. They were comparing him to a lot of UFC. There were dream matches involving him that people were talking about, and then
he was 16-0 when he was ranked number 1, and that included in front of me, in front of Dan Henderson, we talked in front of Anderson Silva. I mean, you get number 1, right? He's in front of everybody, and he and Anderson were training partners, and Anderson said that Paulo could beat him. And it wasn't one of those nice things where then you go ask Paulo, and he's like, "Oh no, Anderson." Paulo said, "Yeah, I could beat him." Everybody said Paulo was number 1, including their manager Ed Soros said that Paulo did win those exchanges.
Now this one I kind of remember being a fact, but I just want the story behind it a little bit. It says you dropped 36 pounds in 22 days to fight Dan Miller. Yeah,
so I think that the fight was 22 days away, which means the weigh-ins were 21 days away. It was 36.2 pounds, and that .2 matters because, I mean, it was the worst experience of my existence on this planet, at least physically. And I made weight, and Dana White never said a word, handed me a check, handed me something. I opened it later. It was a check for $10,000 just for, he read somewhere about the weight cut. And I don't even, my purse was better than that, but not much better than that. It was, it's like, Dana, why did you not tell me this was going to happen 3 weeks ago? It would have got me through some rough spots.
When you're in the cage with that type of weight cut, could you tell by like how you felt inside the cage? Damn, I just cut 30-something pounds, or what did you feel like you did on any other night in the cage?
Well, I always got a bump from cutting weight. I always felt better. I always felt it took all the thought off the fight. You know, the fight was such a back burner to the weigh-in. Because the fight's not going to happen if the weigh-in doesn't happen. So it takes absolute priority. And the suffering you go through, I mean, the absolute suffering of cannibalizing your body. I mean, I don't think there's a dietitian or a physiologist out there that would tell you that's even possible. So, you know, you're talking about not only cannibalizing your body, but then you're dehydrating it. And so when fight night rolled around, man, I felt like Superman. I loved those. I loved fighting after cutting weight. I did not love the cutting weight process, but the fighting, I always felt great.
And finally, it says you graduated from the University of Oregon with a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology.
That is true, and a minor in business.